Breakin. Now let's get into breaking, the origins of style. Yes, it comes from that. When was it lost? When did we lose like that soul?
Electro.
When the electro came in? Okay, so
100.
bust the tree out.
Okay.
Let's get the tree to guide us, because this is a very thick topic, right?
Yeah.
That could go anywhere, really, right? With the names, the collectives that we have put on this list right here.
Yeah. So basically, Korean Rock put this out, but it's Wiggles' list. He had on MrWiggles.com, he had this list and this timeline of people, and it goes longer than this, you know what I'm saying? But we're just looking at the first page, and Junk from Korean Rock reposted it. So he talked about Zulu Kings was the first in Breakin to do a one-shot head spin was Wayne, and then Chair Freeze, Rob from Zulu Kings, CC Long, footwork or six-step or clockwork footwork, Shorty Rock, Crazy Commanders. I heard it was Mongo Rock, but I might be wrong. But Mongo's on the list. Four-step, Spy, Swipes, Spy. So Spy being the man with 1,000 moves. So now when we're looking at CC Long or the Crazy Commanders, now we're talking about the Latin B-boys. Now we're talking about the Puerto Ricans, right? Okay. Spy was Puerto Rican. Track 2, Puerto Rican. Not sure if Boss, if he was Puerto Rican or not. Track 2, Puerto Rican. JoJo, Puerto Rican. Mongo, Puerto Rican. Crazy Legs, Puerto Rican. Track 2. So Ken Swift, like we're looking at all these. Everyone else is Puerto Rican. Like Beaver's not here. Beaver with the helicopter sweeps, reverse helicopter sweeps. Zulu Kings. So there's a lot missing, but this, like I said, today's going to be very generic, but more than anyone else online has a podcast, that's for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the terminology is the most fascinating thing to me, and this is an incredible document. How they're classifying all these moves, and in terms of style, right? Like the genesis of styles. This is all the foundational stuff that we see today. Everything was built off of this right here, right?
Yep.
And what you're telling me is there's a lot of Latin influence. And when I'm looking at the exact moves that's attributed to a Latin creator, it seems very segmented as far as the footwork. Yep. And what we know about the Latin culture is they have the salsa influence, right? They have the music is very segmented as well. So it makes sense.
Yeah. So yes, because the early, when we had Charlie Rock on, Fuji, Dancing Doug, Tritsy, Sasa, these guys would do what they called burns, right? Different from rocking from Brooklyn burns. They talked about girls did burns to guys. That was like the first circles. It was guys and girls, but they were dancing with each other.
Real quick, can you pull up the tree so we can just see the relation of everything right now? Yeah, as we're talking about these guys. And while you're pulling it up, tell us, what's your sources to all this information that you're about to bestow upon us?
Basically with there's a group called gotta give a shout out to Norn Rad, Pluto Goonage. They're all from New York. They really study like the history because they want to dig deeper.
Who are those?
And they would,
Who are those guys?
B-boys that not popular B-boys, but just historians. They want to learn what was deeper than what was presented to them, which was like everyone stops at Beat Street. Everyone stops at Wild Style. So there's a few people that want to do more research than the average B-boy would. And these guys were the guys that did it. And I was, I'm fortunately cool with them. Then I had even K1 from Brooklyn try to do his research and help me out. And then even talking to Wiggles, then talking to Track 2, I would talk to him, talk about these things, talk to Abby from TBB.
Sick.
So, we would have these discussions, and there's a YouTube channel called Michael Wayne TV, who's like this documentarian that just covers the Bronx. Just only anything from the Bronx, right? From politicians to whatever, to hip hop. He's from the Bronx. So that's when I first saw Charlie Rock was on YouTube through Michael Wayne TV. And they would ask these questions to Mike G, Charlie Rock. He has an interview with Sasa. He has an interview with Trixie. If you go on my YouTube, you could see those interviews. And they talk about the first moves. They talk about the first jams. before it became Park Jams, and before they went to the, they were in the hall parties first in 1520 Cedric with Cindy Campbell, who was basically Cole Herc's sister, who said, "Hey, Herc, throw a party for me," and that became the first official hip hop party. Then there's other guys like there's interviews with Red Alert, interviews with Coke Rock. These are all the first guys, right? So these first guys, the first Herc guys, you see in the bottom of the tree right here, the first Herc guys are these guys, are Trixie, Sasa, and the twins. They're the first, right? Everyone in the Freshest Kids talk about the twins, right? I'm not gonna say they go by the legendary twins, according, they dropped the other name, right? The N-word name, the N-word twins, right? Now they're the legendary twins. So they were the first, same as, so before the twins was Sasa.
Okay.
He was the first original A1 B-boy, was B-boy Sasa. Then it was Trixie, then it was the twins. Then guys like Dancing Doug would go there. So then on the other side, Bronx River, you had the Bambaataa and the Zulu Kings that used to be the Black Spades.
Okay, hold on real quick. The A1 box at the very bottom, Trixie, Sasa, the twins, Dancing Doug. Tell me a little bit about their style.
Their style was mostly like just clowning around.
Clowning character, a lot of character.
A lot of character. A lot of not technical. Like kind of like would throw something on the floor and like do a burn, hand to the face, and maybe go down into like piss on your leg like a dog, act like a dog.
So not very developed on the floor work. Exactly.
No. Okay. They might have done a James Brown split at the most.
Okay.
Maybe a spin down, maybe, but it was more sporadic. It was more of you would say that was more feeling to the music more than anything else, right? And again, Why Not is the first to capture that essence again and bring it back 30 years later. It was really Why Not. You know what I'm saying?
Sick, man.
So then you have this branch, right? You have this branch that goes out. So right here in the Bronx River, guys, that's where you got the Zulu Kings, right? That's where you get Mike G from Chuck City that became a Zulu King, a Shaka Zulu, Charlie Rock, Little Keith. Then you got Beaver. Now Beaver is the one that Wiggles looked up to. This is like where it's like, oh shit, you know what I mean? These are the guys that are starting to find moves a little bit more, like what they call around the world or Zulu spins, right? But they're around the world really. Like more Russian steps, more of the sporadic. The footwork is starting to form more. They're doing sweeps or helicopter sweeps. Mm-hmm. If you watch that interview, Mike G was like, Mike G and Charlie Rock were saying we are doing sweeps, but Beaver was doing reverse sweeps, and they would copy Beaver, even though that Beaver was 5 years younger than him. He was like the baby Zulu, but then he was like advanced. That's where he was like, he was technical versus like these guys. Beaver was more technical. And the rumor is Beaver showed a lot of the Puerto Rican kids how to break.
Okay.
Yeah. So then we're going to go into your track 2. We saw on the list, right? We saw track 2, Crazy Commanders and TBB.
Yep.
Right? Oh, shit. The heck's going on?
Yes. Whoops. Let's expand it. That's for the next episode. We need expansion upon that, but that's a great place to start where you're going right now. Yeah. So you're telling me where we're at right now in the first 2 tiers, soul music is prevalent?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? They grew 100. Up to it. It's almost like pop, right? In that era, soul is pop.
No. It's certain songs. They're the B-sides. So that's what hip-hop was about, taking a B-side record and flipping it into something new and taking the break and extending it. So these weren't popular songs. These were only for the kids. Because there was the upscale clubs, and again, I just saw, I just reposted my YouTube. Red Alert talked about this. He talked about like they would use hip hop as a derogatory term. Get that hippity hop out of here. We're grown for that shit. You guys are little kids. You guys are like street sweepers. You're like hopping like rabbits. So then he was saying like there was the popular songs at the time, but the hip hop stuff was made out of B-side stuff that weren't popular. They turned the stuff that was B-side that's not popular, but that had it was more harder and more masculine, right? and more like, oh, get the rowdy.
Intelligence.
So, you know, wow.
So let's hold on. We're talking about style right now, real quick. How important is that concept right there? Taking what's not popular, but something that's existing right now, having that intelligence to be aware of, like, okay, so, you know, not everyone's doing this type of movement. Not everyone's listening to this, but how can I maximize it, right? How can I
think it's because it was anti-establishment. Hip hop is anti-establishment. Hip hop is revolutionary. It's basically a
way.
Huh?
Well, I feel it's important to talk about this before we get into it. Like right now, we're in an era where we're followers of followers. So we're not even like, you know, educated and exactly aware of the source of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all second, third hand at this point. So this tree right here, tracing it back, what you're talking about, what they did in hip hop and taking the B side, the less popular side, the less trendy, where everyone's not quite looking, and they found a way to make it dope, right?
Right.
That's a very important concept when developing your style, when developing your discipline, your practice.
Yo, this is Shadow Rock and PROFOWON.
And this is Jasoul.
And you're watching the Gearhdz Breakcast. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell at the top for notifications, and follow us on Instagram at Gearhdz Breakcast. Peace, y'all.
Peace.